Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here today making a video on my favorite setup for bluegill fishing. Now this is the setup that I use for bluegill, crappie, and bass. I use it for everything, I really do. But my setup for bluegill specifically, whatever else I catch is just a little bit of a bonus catch. Is this rod here is a Code White by 13 fishing rod, 6'6" medium action rod. A lot of fun to fish this rod. It's a long, limber spinning rod. I almost call it a bait caster. I know it's not a bait caster. It's a lot of fun. Great hook sets on the crappie. Man, I love fishing this rod for crappie. It's great for Ned rig fishing, just about anything, honestly. You can do pretty much anything with this rod. If it's finesse or bluegill or crappie fishing, you can do it with this rod. The reel is a Shakespeare Securus rod, Shakespeare Securus reel. I believe that's how you say the name. It's C-I-R-R-U-S. Securus. That's how I say it. I probably am saying that wrong. But the reason why I had to switch it out is the original reel that came with this rod completely wore out. I caught so many bass in one day that it just completely, the drag just was gone. It was destroyed after that. I think I caught like probably 25 fish on that day. Fishing with 2-pound line, 25 fish, 25 bass. That's just the bass. I don't even know how many crappie and bluegill we caught. It wore the reel out pretty darn quick. So I ended up having to switch it over. The line, like I said, is 2-pound line, Berkeley Trilene. Smooth casting, XL smooth casting line, 2-pound line. Like I said, I think I said that in the last video, I'm going to switch it over to 4-pound line again because the 2-pound line just tangles up way too easy. It's a lot of fun to fish, don't get me wrong. But when you're on a hot school of bluegill or crappie, it's kind of annoying when you have to fix a tangle. Like every probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, you have to fix a tangle. That's not too fun. When you're fishing like a heavier jig head or something like that, you know, something like a maybe a 3/32 ounce jig head with, you know, something like this, a 2.0 gunner, which we'll talk about that in a later upcoming video. You know, when you're throwing something like that with a little swim bait head like this, it does not tangle up as much because it's a heavier bait and it's going to send it out there a lot further. But when you're fishing with a 1/80th ounce jig head and a tiny bobber, you know, the wind can catch it pretty darn easy and it'll get tangled really quick. So I'm going to switch it back over to 4-pound line. Probably when I run out of line on this reel, once I get down to a certain amount of line that I don't feel comfortable keeping on, because if you hook into a 4 or 5 pounder, it's going to probably spool you pretty darn quick with 2-pound line. You have to play it very, very slowly. Now, like I said, the head that I use is a 1/80th ounce jig head. This is made by Killer Jigs. I found them through eBay, but like I was talking to myself earlier, because, you know, that's a normal thing. I looked on here because I was looking at the brand name. Apparently they have a website. It's www.killerjigs.com. I didn't even know that. I'm going to go and check them out after I make this video. But yeah, 1/80th ounce no collar jig head. You'll notice that there is no keeper on this jig head. The reason why I have no keeper on here is honestly, I really don't know. There's not really a reason. I don't know why I started talking about like there was a reason. There's no reason really. It's just what I bought. They work pretty good. They don't tear up your plastics as much. That's something that I did notice. Is they stay good. You know, I've caught probably around 20 or 30 fish on the same bait, and that's bluegill, bass, and crappie, you know, in a row, and you don't have to really worry about your bait getting torn up. Now the baits that I throw is the old classic 1.3 tadpole. You can also throw the 1.1 tadpole. I don't have any of them up here on my table, but 1.3 tadpole catches the hell out of fish. And then the newer bait, which is the bait that I caught my new personal best bluegill on, 1-pound 4-ounce bluegill, which is a monster. This right here, the Dock Lure Company Waterbug in root beer color. This is root beer, and the tadpole is in the just plain black color. Now the bobbers that I use 2 different types of bobbers, and I have always said that this is probably one of my biggest keys to success in bluegill and crappie fishing. The reason why is I use very small bobbers. These are the only 2 size of bobbers that I'll use, 3/4, and I believe this is a 1-inch bobber. I don't know. Maybe it'll say on the packaging. No, apparently not. I think this is like I think it's just a 1-inch bobber or 1.5-inch bobber, and then I use this little 3/4 inch bobber. Reason why I use these tiny bobbers, two different reasons. One, it's hard for the fish to see them and recognize them sitting on the surface. When you're fishing for bluegill, typically, a lot of people like using the 3 to 4 inch long orange bobbers, and in my opinion, that's just way too big. And, you cast that out there, it makes a big splash, and they see this gigantic orange thing sitting above the bait. They're gonna kind of, the old wise bluegill are going to be like, that's kind of weird. So, when you see this, they don't really pay too much attention to it. They think it might be a leaf or something. When they do see this, something I've noticed with this is, like I showed you guys in the last video, bluegill, hybrids, bass, crappie, all will come up and actually hit this, thinking it's a bug or, a small minnow or whatever. I don't really care. But it works. They will come up and they will smack this. They'll smack it hard sometimes. I've had bluegill and crappie blow up on it like they're a 3-pound bass. I don't know why, but they do. They'll come up and they'll hit this, and then I'll pull against them, and for some reason they'll end up getting hooked by the bait. In the face, in the mouth. I've had them all the way down nearly in the throat before, so I know that I'm not snagging them. For some reason they eat the bait right after they eat this. I don't know if they think that they knocked the little bug down off of the bobber. I don't really know. It's really weird, but it works. I've caught several big bluegill and big crappie doing that. One of the biggest bluegill I ever hooked was actually using a bobber like this. He came up, smacked the bobber twice, and then he ended up hitting the bait, and I actually lost him right at the bank. I guarantee you, knowing that the bluegill I caught the other day was a 1-pound 4-ounce bluegill, there's pretty much no doubt in my mind that that bluegill that I lost was probably close to 2 pounds. It was just massive. But I lost it. But you know what else? It was in the same pond where I caught my new personal best. So I think next time we go up there, I'm going to go fishing for bluegill specifically and try to catch a monster. I think that'll be kind of fun to do. But yeah, tiny bobber, little this is 3/4. I think this is a 1.5 inch. But yeah, tiny bobbers, they're finesse. They can't see them as well. They think it's just a small leaf or something sitting on the surface. They don't really pay attention to it. Sometimes they'll come up and they'll hit it thinking it's a minnow or something. That will do two things. One, it can help you catch them because they'll hit that and then they'll eat the bait from underneath the bobber. I don't know why, but they do. And then another thing is it'll help you locate bluegill or crappie or bass or whatever. It'll help you locate fish as well. I've done it to where I've had fish come up and hit my bobber multiple times in a row, so I shorten up my leader from my bobber to my bait and I'll catch it almost instantly. I don't know why, it just works. But that's what I typically use. That is my setup. Like I said, I'm going to be switching this from trilene 2-pound to trilene 4-pound, just because less tangles. You can fish 2-pound line if you're more comfortable with it. Go for it. But I'd rather fish 4-pound line and not have as much tangles. Yep, that's my setup. I love fishing these. If you want to check out these baits, the new water bug and the old tried and true tadpole, check out Doc's Lure Company on Facebook. Let me know down in the comments if you want some baits. Let me know through Messenger on Facebook. Yeah, there's some great baits. I make them in tons of different colors. Everything from natural colors like that root beer all the way to bright pink and yellow and green and everything else. So thank you guys for watching. Once again, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Bye.